Do you need help convincing clients that graphic design and branding is valuable? In this episode, we've discovered some awesome studies and statistics you can use to confidently showcase the benefits of design and branding. You're listening to Design and Prosper, episode 137. Hey, I'm Kris.
And I'm Donna. Welcome into this beautiful space where we have open and honest conversations about running a graphic design business.
We'd love to help you throw imposter syndrome to the curb and position yourself as a high-end graphic designer.
Yes, and each week we'll share empowering advice, practical tips, and strategies to help you thrive in business. We are so happy you're here.
Hey, everybody.
Hello, everybody. We're back.
We're back.
Yeah, we've had a little hiatus. We needed to take some time to address lots of things going on. And we have been developing some juicy podcasts to share with you. And this is our first one back.
Yeah, we're so excited about this one. This one is particularly juicy.
Yes.
And information rich. And we hope it's got a lot of value for you.
Yeah.
To help you communicate your value
it's
to
what
the
it's
world.
all about. Really, as a designer, that's the key, to really establish that design is valuable.
Yeah.
And that is what is going to get your beautiful project proposals over the line.
Yeah.
Because when your clients can see the value and understand that there is going to be a return on investment, that's when they go, okay, right. That's valuable. I want me some of that. And then they'll, sign on that dotted line. So it's such a juicy episode. So, yeah.
Yeah, because we're always talking about how important it is to position yourself as the expert, as the authority.
Yeah.
And that voice of expertise that people are coming to you for. And we're also banging on a lot about how to communicate that immense value. And how do you do that? How do you communicate it? It can be hard sometimes. You think, what have I got to offer? I'm just a regular designer. What have I got to offer? And whenever you hear us talk about that, you've got to add value. You've got to communicate your value. Your hearts might sink a little bit.
Yeah.
And you might be thinking, I don't know how to do it.
Imposter syndrome kicks in, right?
Yeah.
And you go, I cannot possibly communicate the value. We choke up the minute a client asks us how much this is going to cost them or what's the investment. We start to choke up. Well, we're here to help you position yourself as that authority that Kris was just talking about and really be in a position of power about how much your design is going to impact on their work, on their branding, on their presence, on their business, on their bottom line,
Yeah.
So I think the thing is, once we truly understand the value of design, we can articulate it and we can speak to it with confidence. And then once we really believe in what we're doing, our clients will believe in it as well. So, we need some strategies around this so we can really access that value.
Yeah, so if you're thinking, well, I know I can design and I'm a good designer, we're hoping you're thinking I'm a good designer, but I'm not really sure how to prove it. I'm not sure how to prove it actually works, that it actually has value, that it actually has efficacy.
Yeah.
Is that the right word,
That's
John?
the right word.
Yeah. So that it actually gets results. Like, how do I show that?
Yeah.
But we have done all the work for you.
Yeah.
We have gone and hunted and gathered really incredible studies and research and statistics around the evidence that branding works.
Yeah. You are going to want to bookmark this podcast.
Yes.
You can really literally take it. Take the studies and access them and reference them when you're talking to your clients.
Run with it.
Run with it. Really take ownership of this. These studies have been done for you, for our industry. This is really important work that researchers have done to really help to celebrate the value of design, not just celebrate it, but to evidence the value of design, which is something that we are questioned on as designers constantly asked to lower the rate. Can you do it cheaper? Can you whip it up? Surely you can do it in this amount of time. Surely it's not going to take that long. Surely this, surely that. And if we allow ourselves to dip into that mindset, we'll never be truly operating with the full potential. And when we start speaking about the value of design and really understanding it, there's no going back from that. You can't then sit there and go, yeah, sure, I'll whip that up, because there's no value in that. What you do is valuable and you'll stand and you'll defend it,
Yeah. So this is going to be helpful whether you are just starting out in business or you've been in business for a long time. Especially helpful actually if you have just started out in business and you might not have your own case studies yet, because case studies are really powerful.
Yeah.
And that is the ideal situation, to have your own client case studies, your own client results. So if you missed it, we did do an episode all about case studies fairly recently because they are so, so powerful.
Yeah.
So check out episode 134 if you want to find out more about case studies.
Yeah. So no matter where you're at with your business, that's what we're saying. It doesn't matter where you're at with this journey. This is going to help our entire industry. These case studies, I can't stress enough, are yours. Really tap into them. This information is really so, so important.
Yeah, I love it. I love that you said that about the industry, because we've said it before, but it is so, so important that we all boost each other up. We're all in this together.
Yes.
That we raise up the standards of the entire design industry, because we want to elevate prices across the board. We want to elevate standards across the board, and we want to really communicate the power of design to people who might not be aware, they might not be educated as to the power. And the people who are wanting $500 logos, they don't understand the power.
They do not understand. We want to normalize the conversation around premium price design. And these studies that we're sharing with you today, they will help with that. They'll help to normalize the conversation about high-end premium priced design. That's where we're at. That's what we want for everyone, for all of you beautiful designers out there.
We also want to get out ahead of any subconscious objections that people might have. And some of this might be kind of an undercurrent of an objection where they just, like I said before, those uneducated clients who just don't get it. They don't understand the value of design. Because we've got to remember that as designers, we are immersed in the world of design. We are immersed in the world of branding. We're immersed in it on the daily, like whether it's coming through on like email subscriptions that we have or our social feed. We are immersed in the power of design, but they aren't. A lot of clients aren't.
Yeah.
So it's up to us to be the educators.
Yeah.
To be the voice of expertise.
Yeah. And once you educate your client, they will not look at anything the same ever again.
Yeah.
They will have a glimpse into the way that we can't even go to a restaurant anymore. From the signage to the menu, we can't go out anymore without actually really noticing and understanding the brand of a space that we're in. But we want that. We want a little bit of that understanding. We don't want to completely wipe them out with this, but we want a little bit of that understanding to transfer to their own brand and the transformation that is actually taking place in front of them. We want them to truly understand the power of that.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the studies.
Yay.
Okay, so the first study that we wanted to share with you was by a research company called Siegel and Gale. So they have surveyed thousands and thousands of participants over many years now, and worldwide they do really extensive research. And their mission is to understand how consumers perceive simplicity in branding. So it's all about branding simplicity, which both Donna and I just love.
Love.
It
really is where it's all at.
Yeah. So they describe simplicity as the intersection of clarity and surprise.
Love that.
Isn't that the most beautiful explanation?
Yeah.
It's like clarity, simplicity in the clarity, and then the element of surprise.
Yeah, which is the hook, right?
Yeah.
Which is where we go, wow, and tap in emotionally to whatever we're looking at. You know, so yeah, love it. Love it as soon as we read that.
Yeah, I love that their focus of their research has been on simplicity.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of designers overcomplicate design, and it actually can take longer to simplify design, to have that really beautifully succinct, simple solution. Kind of like writers who say, sorry, it's so long, I didn't have time to make it shorter.
Yeah.
You know, and it is about that. It's about distilling everything down into that beautiful, simple form.
Single most important point.
Yeah.
You know, that really high level communication in its simplest form. It's what we're all seeking as designers, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the general idea is that simplicity in branding should deliver a clear, human, positive, and useful experience for the customer. So their findings suggest that simplicity leads to increased consumer spending.
Yeah.
Very important for businesses.
Yes.
Brand loyalty, which is also linked to increased spending.
Yeah.
And employee satisfaction.
I love that.
I think that's an interesting one.
That's an interesting one, yeah.
Yeah.
And cannot be underestimated in the power of branding. When your staff are on board, it is an incredibly powerful thing to have a whole team buy into a brand and represent that brand as a whole bunch of advocates. It's incredible.
Yeah. I can even see that with my teenage daughter who has recently gotten a casual job, like an after-school job, her first job. And the fact that the branding where she works is so strong and the brand values are really clear, I think it makes a difference.
Yeah.
I think it really makes a difference, even the way she was onboarded and the way that brand was introduced to her.
Yeah.
Like it's really
everything.
important.
It's everything. There's instant buy-in. There's instant belief and trust in the brand that they're working for. And that is palpable when you're working in an environment like that. If the staff don't believe in the brand, honestly, what hope has the brand got?
Yeah.
You know, it really is important.
Okay, so the key findings of the study. So they found that simplicity definitely performs. It outperforms financially. So imagine they've got a stock portfolio, which they actually do have, a stock portfolio of all the simple brands that they've identified that do simple branding really, really well. They outperform the major indexes, so other kind of stock groupings. You can invest in index funds and that sort of thing. Simple brands outperform those other indexes by 679%.
Yes, you heard that right. 679%.
Yeah.
Outrageous, right?
Yeah. So that's been since they've been tracking in 2009.
Yeah, that's enormous. I mean, that alone is so powerful to know and understand.
Yeah.
So, yeah, awesome.
Yeah. So another thing that they found with the research is that consumers pay more. They're willing to pay more.
Yeah.
So 55% of consumers are willing to pay more for simpler branding experiences.
Right. And that as well, 55%, more than half, are willing to pay more for that simpler experience.
Yeah.
Because we're sick of being overwhelmed, aren't we?
Yeah.
You know, we want clarity. We want that simplicity. We want to understand who and what we're engaging with. That is powerful.
Yeah.
55% more powerful, in fact.
Yeah. They also have increase in brand loyalty. So 64% of consumers are more likely to recommend a brand because it provides that simpler experience and their communication is simple. So one of their leaders on the leaderboard of this simplicity index that they have is Aldi, right? The Aldi shopping centers. So it's just so simple and people recommend it because of the simplicity of the brand, the simplicity of the experience. Like, I mean, it touches everything in store and with their catalogs and just with everything, but people will recommend it and they will keep coming back to it.
We want ease. I think Kris and I always say that we seek ease personally in our business and in life. But I think in general, consumers are seeking ease as well.
Yeah.
And that's what simplicity speaks to.
Yeah.
It's easy to communicate when you're recommending another brand. It's easy to communicate about a simple brand.
Yeah.
You know, there's no complex dives that you need to take and weaving and whatnot. It's really simple. And with simplicity comes confidence.
Yeah.
And if I can
right.
confidently share a different brand with you that you're not using, then it's exciting because I know I'm going to get it right. You know, I'm not scared that, I'm going to confuse you or it's so complex that, I'll trip over myself. It's exciting to know that loyalty and that people will be talking about that. It's incredible.
Yeah. So another thing that they discovered was that brands that don't provide simple experiences are leaving an estimated share of $96 billion on the table.
Ooh, that's outrageous.
Yeah.
That's 1 billion people, not million, 96 billion on the table.
And this stat speaks to what I was talking about before with my daughter getting her job. 62% of employees at simple companies are brand champions.
Wow.
Versus only 20% of employees at complex companies.
I love that. I love brand. I love the idea of brand champion.
Yeah,
that's so great.
For example, a 15-year-old girl walking through a shopping center with a branded hoodie where she works, like that's not going to happen unless the branding is good and that they've invested in the brand.
Exactly.
And it's high level.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they've done in that case.
Yeah. Love that. So simplicity inspires.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
great.
it. So this is a big permission slip to allow yourself to create simple brands. There is such strength in simplicity.
Simple communication, please. Simple websites. Simple in every aspect.
Yeah.
That's the way to go.
Because
Yeah.
we've known historically, working with lots of designers, teaching lots of design students at tertiary level, that designers, especially newer designers, will overcomplicate designs to justify
Exactly.
their worth, their value.
Yeah, to create value. If
Yeah.
I do this extra layer, if I do this extra step, if I do this extra thing, therein lies the value.
Yeah.
And what's happening is you are actually making it complex. And like that point a couple of points ago, complexity costs.
Yeah.
It really will cost you in the long run. It'll cost the brand. It'll cost your client. So yeah, we don't want you to think you are adding value by adding extra. Leave extra out.
That's right. So we'll link in the show notes the link to the full report. You can download it yourself and have a look. There's a lot of gold in there, a lot to dissect.
Yeah.
But that's a general overview of that first study.
Yeah.
So on to another one. So this one is the Kantar Brand Z, Brand Z, depending on where you're
Where you
from.
are.
We're the Brand Z girls.
Yep.
This is a global report. And what this does, it's a very well-respected ranking. They rank the most valuable brands in the world. And it's based on a lot of in-depth consumer research over 18 years, masses of data.
Right.
Yeah.
Respect.
Yeah.
Right there. This is 18 years in the making. Over the 18 years in which they've been tracking all of these, the world's strongest brands, the companies behind the top ranking brands have outperformed stock market benchmarks.
Again, like before.
Again.
So that's two different studies that prove that.
We love a little bit of validity like
Yeah.
that. Yay. Thank you.
Yeah, but it's really important to know that strong brands, so those ones that are perceived as the strongest in the market, the research shows that they do not rest on their laurels when it comes to branding and marketing and building upon their brand equity.
Yeah.
They are constantly putting more resources and more investment into building the overall value of their brand.
Yeah. It's a constant conversation that they're having with their brand.
Yeah.
Always checking in with it and elevating it. Yeah.
Always building more brand awareness, always thinking, what can we do to establish more positive brand associations? What can we do?
Yeah.
Because they want to have really positive perceptions of their brand.
Constantly. And if your clients want solid financial results as well, they need to do this too. They really do.
They need to invest in their branding.
Yeah.
So, and the report shows, bottom line, that investing in branding creates value for businesses. So actual financial gain for businesses and increases the value of their company.
Right.
Yeah.
Love it. We want you to pull that one out.
Yeah.
That's gold. Yeah.
And really interesting side note with this report was that it was showing how strong brands will weather tough economic climate and, just any kind of difficult time throughout history. They will weather them so much better and stay ahead of competition.
Yeah. Because they're solid in their foundation and they're strong and that they're not going to be disrupted like that when they get a little curveball here and there.
Yeah.
They've got that beautiful even keel as they navigate really rocky waters. And let's face it, look at the rocky waters that the whole global economy has been in lately.
Yeah.
And it's those really strong, simple brands that are maintaining their momentum.
They're not just maintaining their
surpassing.
They're surpassing.
You're right. Yeah, that's
which is
right.
just incredible considering the last 4 years.
Yeah.
And the report described it as all weather value, which I really liked.
I
It's
love
like a little.
that. Yeah.
Do you want your brand to have all weather value?
Yeah. Nice,
Yep.
Kris.
Yep.
I like that.
Yeah. So the report stated that all the brands in the strong brands portfolio increased 400% between April 2006 and April 2024.
Yeah, right.
So that's a huge increase, but that might not mean anything to you because you might be thinking, well, do all brands do that? Like, not just like ones with really strong brand equity. No, they were really outperforming like the S&P 500 and the MSCI World Index. So they are like, global stock groupings.
Yeah.
They outperform them.
Yeah.
They achieve higher return.
This
again,
is just
yeah.
gold.
Yeah.
Again, pluck this one out. This is the kind of information that our clients need to really understand so that they can appreciate the value in the work that you are doing and the transformation you are offering for their business.
Yeah. And even though many of our clients, when you're running a design studio, you can't compare your clients to those big brands of the world, those big blue chip brands.
Yeah.
The principles remain the same.
Yeah.
Because like, what does Apple do? It never stops investing in branding and building brand equity. Never. It will never rest.
Never, ever, ever.
Yeah.
I love that. Never rest.
And nor should your clients.
No,
right?
and nor should your clients. And I think that's a really good point to make, Kris, that your clients will be some of your clients will be at the beginning, or they might be a midweight client, and they are like, yeah, that's, we're not those big players, but it doesn't matter. Like Kris said, the principles remain the same wherever you are, whatever your goals are, in order to actually meet, match, surpass, these principles remain the same.
Yeah. So something else I really liked with this report was that they talked about the importance of being meaningfully different.
I like that too. Yeah.
That language.
Yeah, I like it.
So, and you might be thinking, well, what is being meaningfully different? And I guess it might have a bit to do with what we were talking about before that, with the simplicity report, that combination of clarity and surprise.
Yeah.
But in order for a brand to be perceived as meaningfully different, they have to stand out from the crowd.
Right.
They need to have a unique selling proposition, so a unique USP that resonates with its customers. So how a brand's going to do that? They're going to need you.
Yes.
Right? You can't do that without the support of experts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I like that Kris has highlighted that you, beautiful designers, are the expert. You know, you are the one that is going to tap into a brand's meaningful connection with their audience, because you will build those beautiful emotional connections. You will be able to conceptualize that for them. So remember that power. So this is the conversation we want you to have with your clients. You have that power, right?
When you take a really good brief, you extract this meaningful difference.
Yeah.
When you ask the right question. So what the report discovered was that brands that had meaningful difference, that sort of could demonstrate that, they saw a 19% brand value growth advantage. So they're outperforming as well. So it's really interesting. It's really interesting to consider. But there's just so many insights to glean from this report. It is a big one. Definitely download it and dissect it, because there's so much more to it than what we've talked about here.
Yeah.
So we'll put the link in for that as well. So you can go and download it, which I'm so glad they make this publicly accessible, because some of them are gated behind paywalls, but this one, both of the ones that we talked about haven't been.
That's great. That's so great. And I think that this is probably a lovely little segue into stating that it is absolutely your business to be doing this work. You need to carve out some CEO time, batch some time to actually immerse yourself in these industry studies that impact on your business and the way that you can do business, and leverage from these reports with the way that you articulate and teach and educate your audience. These reports are the foundation, the strength that you can lean on. That's what we're delivering here today. We're giving you access to these reports and saying, make it your business, beautiful designer, to be on top of this. It's really important.
And just a little side note, the way that you've viewed that report, once you sign up, it is actually published via InDesign. You know how InDesign always says you want to publish this online? And I always go, what is that? Ignore. And I might not be, I'm very comfortable in InDesign as is done, but I haven't done the publishing format, and it's really quite fancy.
Yeah, I haven't either.
How many of you have been publishing things via InDesign for,
Let us know.
for public consumption?
I want to know. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, this has gone to an Adobe page. Like, what is this? But it was just very beautifully put together with lots of little bits of animation and all that sort of thing.
Which is important for us designers.
Have a look, because your clients might want to publish stuff like that as well. So yeah.
Hey, beautiful designer, we'll get back to the show in just a moment, but we wanted to take 15 seconds to invite you to a free call with us. Simply head to designandprosper.co/work with us and book in a time that suits you best. That's designandprosper.co/work with us. It's a totally free discovery session. No catches, no pressure to commit to anything. The plan will be to learn more about you and see how we can help you implement practical steps to start thriving in your graphic design business. All right, friend, back to the episode.
Okay, so a third study. Now, this was conducted by the University of Wollongong, which is a city in Australia. Okay, so it's a fairly...
The big city.
It's a well-respected institution.
Yeah.
Right. So this study was about emotional branding.
Yeah.
And they discovered that it pays off. So we're looking at branding through bonding, through love, those sorts of things. So, and what the study found was that emotional attachment to a brand leads to higher purchase volume. So they measured 5 specific emotions. It was trust, bonding, resonance, companionship, and love. And consumers who felt strong emotions, particularly bonding like, oh, this is my brand.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
right.
is, I identify with this, which we do. We definitely do. Like we do this with Apple. We've got Apple everything. Yeah, right. So when you have that love and you identify it as your brand, people are much more likely to keep on buying that brand.
Yeah.
Compared to if you just had like a kind of mildly, favorable attitude to a brand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's that love connection, right? Now, this study was from 2012, but we want to highlight the fact that this is coming into its own right now in 2024. And that's why we felt it was hugely important and beneficial to include this study, because we are finding that this is exactly where marketers are at right now with their marketing strategies. All about the emotional attachment and understanding how to create emotion to get that bonding that Kris has just described.
Yeah.
That's where it's at right now, 2024.
Yeah.
So it's super, super important information that applies right now.
Yeah. I love emotional branding and
Me
I
too.
love sensory branding as well.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if there's any studies out there about playing up with the senses. We do that a lot with our brand strategy work as well, because these are subconscious things that we take on when we're making decisions about a brand.
Yeah.
And it was interesting that a surprising part of this particular research found that it was even more effective for like utilitarian kind of products, like kind of bog basic kind of stuff that you wouldn't expect people to have so much love for. Like it was even petrol. They mentioned petrol.
Yeah, and laundry detergent, right?
Yeah.
Like who would have thought?
Like an emotional connection to laundry detergent.
When we were reading this, I was like, yeah, actually, I am emotionally attached
you're
to
a laundry
my
girl.
I'm a laundry girl. I like my whites to be white.
Like you'd expect it for things like coffee.
Yeah, absolutely.
And chocolate.
And
for
beer
example.
and wine and things like that we want to have that emotional connection to, I suppose.
Yeah.
For sure.
Or even like you'd expect it with something like your laptop and that sort of thing that you spend so much time with day to day.
Yeah.
But I wasn't expecting petrol and laundry detergent and things like that.
Yeah.
So there you go.
There you go.
So we'll link that study as well.
Yes. So overall, essentially, the study shows that emotional branding is powerful. It's a powerful tool for influencing consumer behavior. However, it also highlights, which is really interesting, the difficulty of creating these emotional connections. And that's what we believe is happening right now in 2024. The understanding that this is powerful has really hit home for a lot of brands. And now the race is on to unearth and discover ways to highlight that for their brands. So you, beautiful designer, if you can be at the fore of that, we think there is something in that right now.
Yeah.
If you can start to think about how you can actually show emotion in branding, this is where it's at right now. People are craving it. Brands are craving it.
We show you how to do it in the academy, just as a side note as well. If you work with us one-to-one, we'll show you how to do that. Yeah, because it's a big passion of ours as well. All right, another one. So this research was undertaken by Forrester, and what they found is that good design gives brands a competitive edge. So this is the theme that's coming up. So not just one survey, not just one study, multiple studies.
Multiple studies show that strong design is powerful.
Yeah. So they found that businesses with a strong design orientational focus, so that's part of their culture, they believe in it, they love
invest in it.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. they grow at nearly twice the rate of their competitors.
Right?
Wow.
That is powerful. Twice the rate. Again, these stats are undeniable. It's research. These people are doing incredible research for us on behalf of our industry. So tap in to this information.
And we have seen this with our own clients.
Yeah.
The ones who didn't have much money at the beginning, but they decided to invest in their brand, and then we just saw them grow and grow and grow.
Yeah.
It's just incredible.
It is. It's so incredible.
Yeah. And this growth is not just measured in terms of revenue, which is important. Like revenue is great, but it always was also about market share and customer engagement, which is really important to how invested customers are in the business.
Which leads to all of those beautiful things that we were talking about in the last study, that loyalty and confidence to promote the brand on your behalf and the advocacy and all of those sorts of things. So it's all interwoven.
Yeah. They also looked at user experience design as well in this study, and they discovered that companies that invest in UX design can achieve a return of $100 for every $1 invested. That's pretty damn good return.
That's a really good return, right?
Yeah.
Because it comes from improved user satisfaction is what they were saying, and reduced costs of customer support and increased customer loyalty. It all makes sense, doesn't it, when you unpack it like this?
Yeah. And then another thing that they discovered in this report was that design-centric companies, and I love that. It's like, do you want to be design-centric?
I love that. I love we've unearthed some really lovely language in
Use this language.
Yeah, this language is so beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are better at differentiating themselves in the marketplace.
Yeah.
So, every market is competitive unless you're a true disruptor. You're truly creating something that's new. But design-centric companies can differentiate themselves so much more easily, and that will lead to increased market share. So that's what else that the study found.
So an example of a design-centric company is someone who invests in premium priced design over somebody who wants to go out to Fiverr and get a template-based design, or to Canva and do something template-based, where they're in a sea of same. So a company who actually invests in their design, who has that design-centric approach, I just love it. I'm going to say it so much, Kris. They're the companies that are going to elevate above that, because we want to be above that. And if we don't actually invest in that with a considered approach is what I'm trying to say, then we're just in the wash. We're in the wash up with everybody else. So we want to elevate above that. Yeah.
Yeah. So they found that if a company is going to stand out through superior design, and customers notice,
they do.
Really do.
Yeah.
They are more likely to attract and retain customers, even when price competition is fierce.
Yeah.
So there you go.
They'll be trusted, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of it boils down to that factor that authority is there and they're trusted. And I know that it's simple, clear, strong. I know what I'm going to get.
Yeah.
I trust it. And so I'll invest in it even when competition is fierce. This is such a valuable way to communicate this to your clients. This language is really highly important.
Yeah.
So we implore you to pull it out, use it. It's powerful.
Yeah. All right. Another study, and this one's from Adobe, which is very nice of them to do that.
Thank
that
you.
We spend so much money on their products globally.
That's right. Could you imagine? Love to know that stat.
Yeah. So here's what they found. So what they did, the study was about customer perception and engagement when it comes to branding and whether customers are more engaged and that sort of thing. So what they found was that 90% of consumers expect that their experience with a brand is going to be consistent across all platforms and devices.
Right. That's 90% of consumers. And I believe they have every right to expect that.
Yeah.
I am passionate about that. They should. So they should. I think 100% should.
Yeah. And lack of consistency is one of the major things that happens to a brand when they're not using the services of a professional like you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where the dilution happens.
Yeah.
Immediately. Yeah.
And there's the evidence. 90% of consumers expect it.
They
and
expect
want it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And they actually found that 38% of people will stop engaging with a website if the content or layout is unattractive.
Hey, I'm like doing a heavy dance about this because I have siblings who tease me about having to make everything pretty.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's important. It's important.
Yeah.
It's important for the whole communication of this. So I actually just love how that whole stat has been worded. that 38% of people will stop engaging with a website if the content or layout is unattractive. Thank you, mic drop.
They're out of there.
Designers.
Yeah. If it's ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it will actually influence a customer's decision to stay or leave.
Yeah. And I mean, being attractive or unattractive is subjective. I get it.
Yeah.
But I'm latching on to that stat. Thank you very
and
much.
so you should.
Yes. All right.
Another study.
Let's dive in.
So this one is for our website designers and developers out there. So Stanford Persuasive Technology Lab conducted research to understand what factors influence consumer trust and credibility in online businesses. So they found that 48% of consumers consider design to be the primary factor in determining the credibility of a business.
Right. That's huge.
That is huge.
Yeah. Trust is everything. This highlights the crucial role trust plays, really, in shaping perceptions and the trustworthiness and the professionalism of your clients. So, let's have a little look at more implications that have come from this study as well.
Yeah, so that's almost half, right? That's almost half of all audiences will be looking at design and then going, do I trust this website or not?
Yeah.
And they're not consciously thinking it. Like, when you're on a website, you're probably not thinking, oh my God, the design is so terrible. Or like your clients' customers are probably not doing that, but it's subconscious.
Yeah.
Right. And when asked about this, people are like, oh yeah, I definitely think that one website is more credible than the other because of the design.
Absolutely.
Like, it's a no-brainer to us as designers.
It's a no-brainer. Exactly. As designers, we will move on if the design, the layout is not there, if it's not cohesive. We can recognize it a mile off. We can recognize it for its grid and layout and purely as designers. But like Kris said, for other consumers, it's subconscious. Subconsciously, they know when things are off. They know when things are inconsistent. They can tell that this is not cohesive. They wouldn't be able to articulate it and perhaps point it out and draw us a little sketch, but they get it. They know it. And that's like that 48% is a really incredible statistic. And I would say that is a statistic I would use when having conversations with my client.
Yeah, what I love about this research is that you mentioned it before, Don, like your siblings will be like, oh, that's just Don. She's a designer. Of course, that it's important to her. But it's not just important to us as people who love aesthetics and love design and love beautiful layout and grid. It's consumers as well. They're making quick judgments about this, and I love that there's evidence about it. It's not just designer being fussy.
No, I love it.
It's actually, there's evidence.
There's evidence. Yeah. I love it. I can't wait to spruik that one.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's like people will leave. People will just leave if the design experience isn't good. And I love that brands understand this. They want to build brand equity. Brands that are successful want to do this. So if your clients want to be successful, they need to do this too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, another one. Talk about changing the world. This is not quite a study, but it was an exhibition and a book. And I just wanted to include it because I just think it's really exciting. And you know how we sometimes joke about, design business being too serious. We don't want to get too serious. And sometimes Donna and I will say something like, it's not bloody neurosurgery. It's like nobody's dying or
Chill out.
It's not like open heart surgery. It's like, it's all right. We don't have to take this so seriously when something goes pear-shaped within a design business. We can laugh at ourselves. But this beautiful curation of work showed very clearly how design can impact healthcare and people's well-being worldwide. So this is a really good one for those of you who are working with healthcare brands and the wellness industry and that sort of thing. So the exhibition was titled, Can Graphic Design Save Your Life?
Mm.
And it turns out it can.
Yeah, it absolutely can.
Yeah. So what they did was they had over 200 posters and signage and lots of examples of design that showed how design shapes our environment, our sense of self, how it shapes the perception of health information, how it educates in terms of health information. Yeah, like things like anti-smoking campaigns and even the evolution of cigarette packaging. Like I don't know if this is all in all parts of the world, but a lot of parts of the world have adopted like the unbranded packaging. So it's really interesting.
Yeah. And even the way that packaging in general, not just cigarette packaging, but packaging in general, there is so much power in that and in the way that we communicate in packaging.
Yeah.
So, minimalist pill packaging, that
Yeah.
kind of thing. All of that communication is absolutely imperative to get that right.
They looked at signage in hospitals,
Yeah.
looking at the fonts and the colors and the way that graphic design can be used to improve the patient experience as
Yeah.
well. It's
Yeah.
so powerful.
They looked at apps about the human body to, comics promoting safe sex and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
And even like looking at apps now, even look at the wellness industry and all the apps that are exploding in that space. When you actually look at the graphics and look at the way that they communicate this really critical information, it's incredible at what cues and tools and color theory that is being used to allow this information to sink in, to change somebody's perception, to persuade them in a certain direction, like the cigarette packet campaign, things like that.
Yeah.
There's lots of persuasion happening for the good of health, for your safety, It's
That's right.
incredible. Yeah.
So we haven't got the book, but we did find a really lovely roundup on the It's Nice That website. Do you like that It's Nice That website, everybody? It's a really good one for,
Yeah, check it out.
design inspiration, design thought leadership and all that sort of thing. You really should be subscribed to it if you're not. We'll link it in the show notes as well. But they have a lovely roundup from this exhibition so you can see some of the examples that were included in this exhibition and book. And just as a side note, I know that this exhibition was focused on healthcare and well-being, but the whole idea of can graphic design save people's lives was really interesting to me because I remember when we designed an airport logo and we found a font that was used for directional signage. It's called Transport, by the way. It's like a really beautiful font. Actually, it's a humanist font. It's slightly rounded. It's very clear, very legible. And it was designed in the 1950s. And around that time, all around the world, designers were commissioned by governments to completely change up the signage or the traffic system of signage worldwide. And before that, it was so inconsistent and chaotic. We take it for granted now.
Yeah.
That it's so clear and that we can find our way around through the very well designed and thought out signs that are everywhere. But before that, it was just whatever font, whatever material, whatever
people,
whatever texture, like whatever. And so just imagine
the mayhem.
Yeah, imagine the mayhem.
Imagine the mayhem.
And imagine how many lives that graphic design has saved.
Absolutely. Via simplicity and clarity. Yeah, absolutely. That's insane, the amount of lives that would have saved from that.
Yeah.
Literal tweak, that global tweak
to
signage. I love it now, though, when you see maybe old sleepy towns that haven't quite come on board with using, a highway Gothic and its variants, and they're using something completely different.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's cool. It's really funny.
Yeah.
And how confusing it potentially is.
So confusing. But the fonts that they use were designed for the maximum legibility and clarity and also to be not stressful. They're not too angular and all that sort of thing. And so that we can
calming.
And all this is subconscious stuff, right? But it was so carefully considered and we do take it for granted. So if you're thinking about investigating any of those fonts, one of the main ones that have been used around the world are Transport, Highway, Gothic, and Clearview. And there's lots of different variants that different countries have sort of adapted. And there's a designer doing that behind the scenes, like figuring out a signage system.
Yeah. I love it. Beautiful.
So that brings us to the end of the research that we wanted to share with you today. There's so much more, obviously. This is we've just
skim the
surface.
But in a really meaningful way, I believe. I think that just unlocking these, or not these, but this research is going to help a lot of you out there when you're wondering, how on earth am I going to communicate to my clients the value of the work that I'm doing? This is how. Tap in, go and read the research, be the CEO, sit down, really understand your industry, really understand what's happening. I am so grateful for this research done on behalf of our industry to collectively elevate everyone in industry. It's so powerful.
Yeah.
So tap in, people. We want you to actually really embrace this and use it to your advantage. Leverage from this.
Yeah, use it to win over your clients, like to build trust with them and to educate them so they can see the value.
Yeah.
Because the implications for businesses worldwide are huge. If they invest in branding, if they invest in building their brand equity, the results are going to be there for them.
Yeah.
And I want you to be able to go out there and really confidently speak to all this.
Yeah, absolutely. Go forth and conquer.
Yes.
All right. Until next time, be brave, educate. Don't ever feel like you can't educate. It's what it's all about. And remember that when you are in front of a client and you are speaking to the value of your design work, you are speaking to the value of design globally.
Yeah.
You are elevating the value of design for all designers out there. And that's our mission, live.
Yeah.
To make sure that we are seen as a really valuable contribution to any business that works with us.
Yes, that's right. So thank you, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us again. It's so good to be back.
Yeah, it is good to be back.
We hit the ground running with a big one. It was a big one to dissect today. So if you found value in what we shared, we would love it if you could follow the podcast, give us a rating. A positive rating would be so lovely.
Please share the love.
Yeah, send us your thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, send us a DM in Instagram. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you find any more research as well, like this.
Yes, please. We would love to know. We want to help as many designers as possible. So, let us know.
All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your week.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.